A young prince ascends the Ottoman throne. He is now the new Sultan. The empire bows before him. The army accepts him as ruler. And the palace waits for his command. But before his reign has even truly begun, a terrifying decision is made. In the dark corridors of the palace, 19 princes, his own brothers, are taken away, one by one. And before the sun rises over Istanbul, their lives have already come to an end. This was the dark beginning of Sultan Mehmed III's reign. In 1595, after Sultan Murad III passed away, his son Mehmed ascended the Ottoman throne. But the Ottoman throne did not simply mean power and glory. That throne also meant fear, because in the Ottoman dynasty, every prince was seen as someone who could one day claim the throne. Every brother could one day become the center of a rebellion. Soldiers, statesmen, and secret groups inside the palace could use one of them against the new sultan. The Ottomans knew very well how wars for the throne could tear the empire apart. In the past, when a sultan died, his sons often turned against each other. In a struggle for power, these conflicts divided the army, weakened the provinces, and shook the empire from within. That is why a cruel idea had formed inside the palace. The new sultan, in the name of protecting the state, could remove his own brothers from the path. According to the palace logic of that time, this was not seen merely as personal cruelty. It was considered a heavy decision made to prevent future chaos. But what happened when Mehmed III came to the throne was horrifying. Even within this brutal tradition, 19 brothers, some of them were still very young. Some may not have even fully understood palace politics, but Ottoman blood ran through their veins, and that alone was enough to make them appear dangerous. They were not considered a threat because of what they had done, but simply because they were alive. According to later sources, the coffins of the princes were carried out of the palace one by one. The people of Istanbul were shaken by this sight, because this was not a war against an enemy. This was a dynasty sacrificing its own blood in order to protect its own power. Mehmed III did not have his brothers killed because they had rebelled. He had them killed because one day someone could use them against him. That was the most frightening side of the Ottoman throne system. A prince did not need to commit treason to be seen as dangerous. It was enough for him to simply remain alive. After Mehmed III, this kind of mass fratricide became much harder to defend. In later periods, instead of being killed, princes began to be kept inside the palace in a place known as the cafes, meaning the cage. They survived, but they were not free, cut off from the world, kept under watch, forced to live a silent life. So why did Mehmed III have 19 of his brothers killed? Because in the Ottoman palace of the 16th century, the greatest threat to a sultan was not always a foreign enemy. Sometimes the greatest threat was the brother sleeping in the next room. The Ottoman throne did not simply choose a ruler. That throne demanded a sacrifice, and that is why Mehmed III's rise to power is remembered as one of the darkest beginnings in Ottoman history.